true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoker and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, give it to me straight, face to face. Are you really disappearing? Just another dying race. Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue, I'm asking you. Hey, true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey, true blue, hey, true blue, happy fading. Is your heart still there? If they sell us out like sponge cake, do you really care? Hey, true blue, true blue, is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when she's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue, I'm asking you. Is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue,
the tide recedes, but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand. The sun goes down, but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, and yet it echoes on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains. We unite today to lovingly remember and bid farewell to a very special woman. Good morning. My name is Katie Wicking, and I have been afforded the honour of leading today's celebration of life service for Denise, a woman who is obviously a much-loved mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, family member, and friend. On behalf of Denise's family, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here today to show your love and your support. Some of you have travelled large distances to be here today, and for this I know they are extremely grateful. Whilst there are some family members who are unable to be with us in person here today, I know that their thoughts are with you as we all say our goodbyes, as they say theirs in their own way. Following our chapel service, please gather on the lawn outside as Denise's family will be releasing a dove in her memory. You are all then very warmly invited to join them at the Park Ridge Tavern for refreshments and to share your stories and your memories. I'd like to offer the following prayer. As we gather here today to pay tribute to a loved one and friend, let us remember and cherish those moments that each of us shared in some way with Denise. May we find inspiration in her life's deeds, and may we acknowledge our appreciation for her strength, support and love. Although saddened by our loss, let us join together in celebrating Denise's life and the joy she brought to those who knew and loved her. We are thankful that she is now at peace, released from pain and suffering, and no doubt reunited once more with her beloved parents and family members who have gone before her. Amen. Sharp, abrupt, demanding, a character. These are just some of the words that have been used to describe Denise to me. Denise was a woman who never suffered fools lightly. She always called a spade and was well known for her sharp tongue. But that being said, Denise could never hold a grudge. She was also a very caring woman and devoted mother who would do anything for her kids and those nearest and dearest to her. Denise was quick to step in and care for her grandchildren when the need arose, and she was just as devoted to them as she was to her own kids. There was nothing that she wouldn't do for them. Denise loved bright colours, and it's lovely to see that so many of you today have chosen to honour her by wearing your bright colours. She loved animals and always surrounded herself with pets throughout her life. She had a true appreciation for the great outdoors and was happiest when fishing or camping on Stratty. In fact, this is where she's asked that her ashes be scattered so that she can enjoy the eternal beauty of her favourite place. Denise was a regular at bingo, and I'm told she also enjoyed the occasional flutter on the pokies. I'd now like to invite Denise's brother Dennis to share a little more of her life through her eulogy. Thanks.
Denise Joan Parmenter, born Nimbin, New South Wales, the 22nd December 1951. Daughter to Alf and Joan, sister to Neville and Annette. Gee whiz, Nimbin, no wonder she liked to smoke. The early years of her life were spent on the dairy farm at Doubtful Creek. Times were tough on the farm with no one getting spared to do their chores. It was tough being the youngest in the family, but then she finally got someone to boss around, her younger brother Dennis. Attending Doubtful Creek School was the highlight of her young life, but in 1961 Dad decided to move on to greener pastures, so we loaded up all his belongings, put them in the Vauxhall wagon and we headed to Brisbane. A short stay at Fruit Grove and even a shorter stay at Callumvale, the family ended up at Frederick Street, Park Ridge. It was here that Denise learnt the art of survival. Home was a beat-up caravan on one side, the other side was the back of a Tickles truck, and the kitchen was a humpy in the middle. There was nothing flash, but there was always food on the table, and the buckets collected all the water from the leaking roof when it rained. Auntie Laurel lived next door. Her flash house had nice lino floors, and often Denise and I would be called over. Auntie Laurel gave us a blanket, and we'd pull each other all the way through the house. After half an hour, she was pleased. The floors were polished, and we were pleased because she gave us a biscuit, which was a rare treat in them days. Meal times were another tragedy in the Parmenter household. What was put in front of you, you ate. No begs, no pardons, or was the garden hose round the backside. Every night I struggled, yet Denise had hers gone in a flash. Could not work out for the life of me, what was going on. Then one night I caught her. When Mum and Dad went to do the dishes, she fed her tucker to the dog. I did not dob, but from then on, when the food was not to our liking, the dog would get doubles. I think poor Snooky died of obesity. Denise did her primary school at Park Ridge High School, then at Salisbury, where she decided to attend. Soon she was in the workforce and met Peter. They married young and moved around a bit before buying the back 2 acres off Mum and Dad at Park Ridge. This is where the family home was built. Together they had 4 children, Ricky, Shane, Dennis and Melissa. Sadly, the marriage fell apart. Denise was left to raise 4 young children on her own. There was no government handout them days, and Denise had to work to make ends meet and to provide for her family. Not an easy task for an ever-changing world, but she always made sure there was food on the table and there was a roof over their heads. Through good times and bad, she always stood up for them kids. Say anything bad about them and you got the scalded tongue off her, which is not a very good thing, I can tell you. Denise not only raised the family, but she also cared for the grandchildren whenever needed. Denise Denise was not just a mother, but also a special grandmother. The years passed, Denise finally met her soulmate Tim. They both enjoyed fishing, be it from a boat, the bank, or over at Stradbroke Island, which was her favourite. As we look back now, it's a pity we did not take more time for life's pleasures instead of worrying about the mundane routine of life's struggles. Tim has lost a partner, a companion and a mate. They enjoyed many years together. Although not all plain sailing, he was there to the end. Denise liked the barbecue, so whenever you seen the smoke coming from the barbecue, you knew it was time to load the esky with a few coalies and head on down. It was like the Indians sending smoke signals back in the old West. Before long, you had every neighbour within Cooey, and a great night was always had. When Mum and Dad passed, Denise sold the family home and bought a house in Beenleigh, where she could walk out in the back veranda and see her beloved Stradbroke Island in the distance. She had many great time out there, reminiscing about all her fishing adventures. Denise has left us much too early, yet she has always said they were the cards that have been dealt, so get on with it. We have all struggled to witness this hideous disease taking its course. To the man upstairs I say there must be a better way. Denise lived her life like there was no tomorrow. Sadly for all of us, one day there will be no tomorrow. She loved to punt, liked to smoke, enjoyed a scotcher too. Well, good on you, sis, you did it your way. On my last visit to see Denise in hospital, she noticed I had a tear in my eye and she said, "Dennis, look at me, I'm stuffed. I have no regrets, I've enjoyed my life. Now stop hanging around here and get out there and enjoy it while you can." That sums up what kind of person she really was. We'll miss her quirky sense of humour, we'll miss her scoldings, and most of all, we'll miss a great human being. Say hello to Mum and Dad, and we'll all catch up shortly. May you now rest in peace.
Thanks, Dennis. Following a bout of ill health, Denise was diagnosed with cancer on the 30th of May this year. Her prognosis was not good, and she was given only 6 months to live. Denise fought a very hard battle to remain with her family for as long as she possibly could. Following an 8-week stay in palliative care, Denise was moved to a care facility. But in true Denise style, she made up her mind that it was her time to go. She passed away quietly on Tuesday, less than 24 hours later, only 5 days shy of her 62nd birthday. While Denise can rest peacefully, proud of the many achievements that she made in her almost 62 years, you, her family and friends, can now celebrate those achievements and be very proud to have shared in her life's journey. I'd like to invite Denise's granddaughter Alexis to share a few words on behalf of her grandchildren.
Today is the day, not only to say a final goodbye to someone so special, but to reflect on the person that she was and the happy life that she lived. Everyone who knew my grandma well would have known how much as grandchildren meant to her, to the grandchildren that couldn't make it here today, and the ones who have drifted and lost contact over the years. All know their special place in her heart. Not only did we mean the world to her, she meant the world to us. To my siblings and myself, she was more than an ordinary grandmother. She was our second mum. Not a day went by when we didn't see our grandmother. She was the spark of happiness we all needed when feeling down. She was the one to call for reassurance when something bad had happened. The one to cuddle after a long day. She was the one who kept our crazy family sane. Our grandmother alongside our papa were always the ones we fall back on. We never went without anything being so spoilt by our grandparents. There was never a dull moment being in her life. Grandma was the one who would sneak us the lollies under the table when Mum said no, would buy the unnecessary toys we never needed and always broke, always having her alongside us, from her convincing Papa to drive us on the mower the last time and taking the blame for all our clumsy mistakes. She was constantly battling for us. To me, deep down, I believe my grandmother was someone very special, not only to me, but a lot of people here today as well. She taught me a lot of life lessons I'll carry forever. I'll miss her being there at the end of a bad day to remind me that days get brighter and things get better. There were so many good memories we shared From her being there to teach us how to walk and talk, as kids taught us that we were all individually special. Without her, we wouldn't be the same children we are today. The happiest times my grandma enjoyed was when everyone she loved would come together. Although it didn't happen often, it meant everything to her when it did. She enjoyed watching the little kids play outside, listening to the boys argue about football, laughing at Mum trying to cook, and having Papa beside her with a beer. The simplest things meant everything to her, and us as grandchildren being a part of her happiness is something great to remember. Although none of us want to say goodbye, and the younger kids don't understand why we have to say goodbye, her time had come. As she was a big part of our life, there is not a day where we won't think about her or a day we won't miss her and remember her. We all have those special one-on-one moments that will always be cherished forever, but we will also never forget our importance to her and how happy we made her. In this sad time of loss and grief, we will know Grandma remains inside our hearts forever.
Thank you very much, Alexis. Son Shane is in Bali and is unable to be here in person today. However, he has lovingly compiled a special photo memoir for his mother that we'll have the pleasure of viewing shortly. Shane has also asked that the following poem be shared in personal tribute to his mum. Dennis, would you like to come forward and read that for us, please?
Nimbin's Pearl. My mum was a great woman and a beautiful girl. Because she was born there, I'll call her poem Nimbin's Pearl. I feel sad because my mum has passed away. I know she'll want us all to be happy today. From humble beginnings, born 22 December 1951, just south of the Gold Coast, the short inland run. A leafy town of banana farmers. Her father Alf, her mother Joan, known as the Parmenters. Two brothers, Neville and Dennis, she loved more than words could say. Auntie Annette's unyielding love and supported her all the way. As a child, the family mostly lived off the land. She loved raising many animals and pets from her hand. As a teen, she left school, stretched her wings for flight, sometimes getting into trouble, sneaking out to watch the band at night. Mum always worked hard and took responsibility. Her strength was her open heart and her vulnerability. Our mum raised 4 children, Ricky, Dennis, Melissa and me, brought us up with no boundaries and set our hearts free. She brought to this earth a genuine love without equal. Her eyes lit up, arms stretched with every grandchild sequel. To Mum our blood was fair dinkum true blue. Her family was a bond and her love was the glue. Her door wide open and she chose to live in forgiveness. She lived by the rule, let God be your witness. I remember how a bird just found Mum landing on her head. It was never to leave, choosing to stay with her instead. As a boy, my mum showered us with many supportive lifts. Looking back now, I know her life was such a gift. Sometimes I see myself acting or saying her quotes. I stare into my closet, I wear many of her coats. You see, we feel lucky because I love my mum and she loved me. We are the juicy fruit from a family tree. You see, my mum was more than a small town farming girl. She was a giant lover in Nimbin's Pearl.
Thanks very much, Dennis, and thank you very much to Shane. I'd like to ask everybody to take a few moments now to remember Denise in your own way as we have the opportunity to share some of her family memories.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance. that you made up for all that you lack. Don't make no difference. Escaping one last time, it's easier to believe in the sweet madness of this glorious sadness that brings me to my knees in the arms of the angels. Fly away from here, from this small cold hotel room and the emptiness that you feel. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here.
Time has now come to say our last goodbyes to Denise. Could I ask you all to kindly be upstanding as we pay our final respects? We've known lots of pleasure, at times endured pain. We lived in the sunshine and walked in the rain. But now we're separated and for a time apart. But I am not alone. You're forever in my heart. Death always seems so sudden, and it is always sure, but what is oft forgotten, it is not without a cure. There may be times you miss me, I sort of hope you do, but smile when you think of me, for I'll be waiting for you. Now there's many things for you to do, and lots of ways to grow. So get busy, be happy, and live your life. Miss me, but let me go. Now we say our last goodbye, in grief at Denise's passing, but also in gratitude of her life and the very special privilege of sharing in it. We can say that we are glad Denise lived. We are glad we saw her face. We are glad we felt her touch and heard her laughter. Thank you. Please be seated. What we have once enjoyed, we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. And I'm sure that Denise would not want you to grieve, but instead to take pleasure and comfort in the many wonderful memories that you made together. We will forever cherish the love that Denise has given, that she has received, and that you have all shared. Farewell, Denise. We wish you well on your journey.
How much is that doggie in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggie in the window? I do hope that doggie is for sale. I must take a trip to California and leave my poor sweetheart alone. If he has a dog, he won't be lonesome, and the doggie will have a good home. How much is that that doggie in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggie in the window? I do hope that doggie is for sale. I read in the paper.
Family and friends, we'd all kindly stand. Follow the family from the chapel to the lawn area at the front of the chapel where we'll have our dog release.
My love needs a doggie to protect him and scare them away with one bark. I don't want a bunny or a kitty. I don't want a parrot that talks. I don't want a bowl of little fishies. He can't take a goldfish for a walk. How much is that doggie in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggie in the window? I do hope that doggie is for sale.